been divorced and had to recover through that, kind of gone through alcoholism and some drug things and had to recover through that. I've been almost a millionaire, then down to pretty much flat broke, and then now back up to a millionaire again.
Yeah.
So I got that journey.
I'm just gonna throw that out there because this is our first episode of trying to do this stream, right? And so we were kind of said at the top that there might be some mistakes, and it's been a while since I did a live stream. I just did a check to make sure it was going. It didn't look like it was going, and then I might have forgot to hit one button, but it is going now.
Okay.
So just
Nice,
so it's there. That the whole fun intro that I did might be out the window and might not be able to see it, but that's okay. That's when you're learning on these things. Definitely with the live stream, it's going to be a little different, but
That's how you get better, man. It's, even I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I recorded the 35th and 36th podcast, or 36th and 37th, something like that. And I was freaking didn't hit the right button. I wasn't talking into the mic. I was talking into this camera up here. So the audio wasn't great. So I was angry at myself when I sent it, man. But, you did a great job cleaning it up. And that's the thing. You just keep learning, you keep growing, you keep getting better. When I look back to the first few videos I put out, man, I can just laugh at them. They're hilarious, and then to the quality we're at now. And then I think the quality we'll be at, 6 months from now, a year from now. That's how we tend to attack everything in life, man.
Yeah, it's great. Just that's so fun about the videos too, is you document it. You see the growth physically in front of you. Sometimes as we're going through the motions, if we're getting 1% better on a day, it doesn't necessarily show up. But to be able to go back, because I know, like, for me, when I was starting my YouTube channel in 2017, those videos make me cringe so much when I go back and watch them. But
bro, I can't recognize you. I watched one of the poker vlogs and I was like, this isn't Alex, because I've only known you since like 2021, man. Like a year and a half or so. And I mean, dude, you're a totally different person. Just even the way you talk, everything about you, man. I mean, obviously the way you look, you're 55 pounds lighter and a heck of a lot, more energy and all this stuff. But
totally different person for sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think both of us a year from now will be a totally different person than we are now too, which is kind of cool thing. Well, did you have some questions submitted, man? We should tackle.
I had a couple people submit questions. Nothing too specific. So I guess the first one I got asked when I started like letting people know that we were doing this. One person reached out and they might have been going through it, but they were curious how we would respond to dealing with burnout. Doing the same thing, but like you got your goal set, you got some passion, you might have something that where you want to go, all that's there, but doing the same thing every single day for 30 months, 10 months, like a long time in a row, and then we all hit the wall, right?
For sure.
What are some tips, maybe the best advice you could have that would deal with burnout from situations?
Man, for me, and this is, I can, again, fortunately or unfortunately, I've made every mistake in the book. So I've experienced a lot of burnout, whether that be poker. When I first started poker, man, I actually remember saying one time, like, I don't even care if I lose my legs as long as I can play poker. I was literally playing 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's all I wanted to do. And that's kind of how I'm this all-in mentality, right? And so, when I first got onto Twitter, man, I started gaining some traction and man, I got 3,000 people following me. I got 5,000. It'd be cool if I had 10. It'd be cool if I had 15. You get kind of addicted to those metrics and you want to go all in and be spending all your time doing those. Well, yeah, then eventually that burnout does happen and you have to kind of make rules for yourself. And I think that goes back to probably the main theme of my life. And when my life changed completely about 4.5 years ago, I remember it was, both of us are, Joey Ingram's probably my best friend here in town. I know, shout out to Joey. Me and you have watched probably every one of his podcasts, and he had a guest on, Bill Perkins, who said something that it's like we were talking about earlier that just lit a fire in my butt. And he said, if you want to be successful, you've got to have integrity to yourself above everything. So when you promise yourself something, you've got to be okay to that word, And so when I felt myself kind of burning out a little bit with Twitter, with social media, with content creation, I just set a couple of rules for myself and we kind of test those out, right? And so right now I have 2 rules set that at noon, 2 days a week, I totally am done with it, with everything. So I'm just all about family, all about going to shoot hoops, maybe going for a swim with my kids or napping, doing anything that feels sitting outside reading a book, but I will not get on my phone 2 days a week after noon. So I give myself, I might have a couple pre-written tweets. I'll come on and just fire off that are in my drafts, but I won't engage. I won't be on there. I won't shoot YouTube content. I won't do any of that stuff. And I tell you, that's really helped over the last few months. I set that rule a few months ago and I found myself burning out, and I've just had to stay true to it. And there's times where, as you know, Alex, where, dude, you're clicking on all cylinders. You route out a big thread. You're firing off on Twitter. You're starting to gain some traction on YouTube, and you want to keep going and work through those. But then it goes back to that integrity yourself. And you got to say, all right, man, in 10 minutes, I'm done with my phone for today. And what that does for me is it makes me so much hungrier when that alarm goes off 5:15 the next day. I can't wait to get back up and get back to it. Yeah. Whereas I think if I just power through that last little bit, then man, that's where you start to get to, oh man, now I have to do this again instead of I get to do this again, So for me, setting those rules for yourself, and then you got to have integrity to keep them.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a great rule. It's pretty much kind of what I would say is like you have to schedule that break time away. Like, yeah. For me, it relates most to poker. That's probably where I would find the burnout more than anything in my life. And then definitely when you're losing, you gotta set that time to get away. And that for me, I want to get back in there. But that break avoids, because when you're burning out, you're gonna do like 90, maybe 70% of the work you could do when you're at 100. Scheduling like 8 hours, like you said, or the night afternoon, that all that time, you might feel like you're wasting it and you're not using the time to better push yourself forward. But I think the break actually ends up paying way better dividends long term anyway. So
I definitely agree, man. I can relate it to poker a lot with you too, man. And I think one of our guests that was on, one of my favorite guests, most impactful, is Steven.
Yeah.
And he said you gotta view rest as active. A lot of time we think of rest as this passive thing. Oh, I'm resting, and I would feel guilty for it even because I'm such a go high motor guy, right? And like if I were to just sit out in the pool and stick my feet in it and read a book for pleasure, I almost couldn't even enjoy it because I'd feel guilty. Like, well, I could be working on these other things. I could be grinding poker and getting better or doing it. But now I've looked at that like, I am good at poker when I play because I do those things, and me and my wife are really great parents and intentional about it. That's because we get sitters 3 days a week. And to be honest, we completely ignore our kids for about 12, 14 hours a week. And we focus on each other. And then when we're done with that kind of active rest, we're back to it and we're able to be fully present. And I think a lot of people just never set those parameters in. They never take breaks, whether that be with poker. And dude, me and how many poker guys, and I'm coaching a couple right now, and literally they'll be like, yeah, I just play until I'm so exhausted that I can't keep my eyes open. I sleep, I wake up, and then I fire up my laptop and I play again until I'm so exhausted. And it's like day after day. And it's like, dude, you got to schedule in some things that fill you up, some walks, some go lift, do some other positive things. And it'll ultimately help your poker game a lot more too,
Yep. It's something about 2 hours of intention compared to 6 hours of just coasting. Really, it's
yes,
such a big deal. I think refilling. You got to refill yourself.
Yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup, so to speak. Yep. And I think you just got married. Shout out to you, man. A couple weeks ago, man. Such a great day. I love seeing all those pictures and whatnot. But even as a husband, right? Like if you're not at your best and you're not filled up, you can't really give Kristen what she needs, like the encouragement, the active listening, the support, the planning, the leadership. And I think that goes for me as a husband, as a dad, as whatever I'm doing too. If I'm not filled up, and I know you're big into getting up early, man. We made the morning routine video, and both of us, we're up in the 5 o'clocks every day.
Yeah.
For me, I have to do that to get up to be able to lead my family adequately, to be the best me for them. Because if I wake up when my kids wake up, dude, and then they start needing 10 things, and then clients need 10 things, and then I feel like I'm pulled in a million directions, and then I'm no good to anybody.
Yep, totally. I think a good thing to deal with burnout too. It's just like it's rest, but it's like mindful rest and the meditation side of things. Just being able to like close your eyes and get rid of all the inputs that are coming into your brain, and really focus. Sometimes the burnout can come from an area of your life that you might not quite realize it's leaking into your other parts of your area. And with 10, 15 minutes of meditation once, maybe twice a day, just do that consistently. Your mind is interesting in that it'll present you with what's actually weighing you down, causing that burnout that you might not have thought of before. And then at least with that that's giving you the 10-minute, 15-minute break. And you're also like kind of like getting rid of all that excess noise that's in there that can build up, and that can also like just add so much weight to the burnout situation. At least that's what I find.
Dude, now I'm flashing back to, do you remember when I messaged you about 3 weeks ago and I was like, Alex, dude, I'm getting crushed at poker. And,
Yep.
you kind of alluded to it. I had 4 or 5 sessions in a row where the game just didn't make sense. Like it
Yep.
just, I'm winning player for 19 years. I've had one losing month in 19 years. And this month it just didn't make sense, the 5 or 6 sessions. And I was like, bro, I just gonna take like a week off, or I don't know what to do. And then you kind of said, hey, man, when I went through it, I just started journaling for like 5 minutes, being really mindful and kind of asking myself questions after each session. Dude, I did that for 2 or 3 sessions and it was like the light bulb just snapped right back on. And I think your point to that is being mindful
Yep.
about whatever you're doing. I've played 20 million hands of poker at this point. So I think, my tendency is to just fire it up online, fire up my 10 games, and sometimes I can get on autopilot. I kind of have, my baseline strategy. I'll make adjustments in game, but I'm just kind of playing along, right? And if I'm not mindful, I can get caught up in not really, being really present. And so for you to kind of challenge me to, hey, write down about your session for 5 minutes, write down what you could have done better, write down, and then it got me mindful that I wasn't even doing the pre-work stuff that I normally did. I was just going up and expecting to win. And so your challenge to me on that was massive. And I think that can actually help burn out a lot too, is just even taking 1 minute, before you do things and just kind of getting yourself set. I visualize every single morning, spend a minute, 2 minutes, and you can call it prayer, visualizations, combination of both for me, where I kind of just thank God for the day. And then just say, you know what? All right, I'm gonna picture myself with my kids. I'm gonna be so freaking high energy. I'm gonna throw them up in the air. I'm gonna, picture myself with my wife. I'm gonna be dancing with her in the living room. I'm gonna, this is the guy I'm gonna be, and I kind of see it in my head before I do it.
Yep. Totally agree.
That's pretty massive.
All right. Well, we got give hope, fight poverty. Calling someone a hottie out in here. I think that's directed at you.
I hope so, man. I wrote a tweet and I didn't fire it out today, but I said, I'm not a heterosexual. I'm not a homosexual. I'm not a pansexual. I'm a give hope, fight poverty-osexual. I love my wife, man, my queen. I couldn't do anything without her, man. There's so many days where I'm about to shoot some kind of YouTube thing and I can't figure out the camera. I can't figure out the light stuff. She has to come in here and fix it all. It's usually just like unplug it and plug it back in. But yeah. I'm so frustrated usually when I find
that part a little interesting about you, that you can't, having played the online for so long, not being able to put it together.
Bro, me and technology. Like I was hosting a men's retreat, and Nick, chosen leader, who's one of my favorite guests on here too.
Yeah.
He podcast back. I mean, he had this thing that like charged your iPhone, and it was like wireless. And he's just like, you set it on your phone and it starts charging. And like, I was just like amazed at this thing. I was like, what kind of wizardry is this? Like all the guys are laughing at me, like, day to day, like I know we use technology for Twitter, for YouTube, these things, but like if I had my perfect day, man, I'm not really on my phone a lot. I'm trying to get out at parks with my kids. I mean, we probably spend, dude, I would say 6 to 8 hours a day outside, even here in the Vegas summer, man, we'll be in the pool, we'll go to splash pads. We get outside every opportunity we can.
Yeah. Look, you show it. It's great. It's great. Beautiful weather down there. It looks like all the time.
Yeah. It's pretty, you'll be here in a couple of weeks too, man.
Yep.
Pretty pumped for that.
Yeah.
Give hope, fight poverty. My wife, she did submit a couple questions too, but
go ahead.
Yeah. The one was why do most boys eat dirt? Because we took our kids to the park today and our boys were just literally eating dirt, and why won't they eat vegetables when we feed them? And I told her I don't have an answer for that one, but I'll study it.
Yeah, I can. I saw the questions, and I can't say I know that one because I, for one, didn't eat dirt. I wasn't a fan of dirt. I'd make like dirt pies, I guess, and feed them to other people, maybe. But no, we just like to get our hands dirty, I think, and then eventually we get curious, and it's probably part of it.
That's one thing I love about being a dad. And you see, I have a 22-month-old and a 20-month-old, and then a 6-year-old about to be 7. But dude, they're just so present. You talk about being present, and kids never get burned out on anything, dude. My daughter, dude, there was a time where we were taking a really cool vacation the next day, and she was going down this slide, and I'm asking her, are you excited for the vacation tomorrow? She's like, Dad, watch me on the slide, and it just like it clicked in my brain. Like we can learn from kids in that way where they don't care about the next thing or the next thing. And
before they've been influenced by everything else, right? It's kind of what the true human is when we're children. We don't not influenced by all the stuff. We don't know what politics. We don't know that we need to work to get the money to come in and pay the bills. They don't. None of
Right.
that matters. You can follow your curiosity. You can make
Yeah.
mistakes. It's
Yeah.
a lot to learn from them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that'd be a good video in the future, man. What we can learn from
Yeah.
kids,
Some
because
lessons
that
to learn
is,
from kids. Yeah. I like
yeah,
that.
that is a good point where you're allowed to make mistakes too. And I wonder at what point, maybe school age, where they start teaching you it's bad if oh, you missed 10 questions on this, that's bad, like
Yeah.
instead of, hey, you missed 10 questions, that's an opportunity to now learn and not make those mistakes again. If I was a teacher, I'd probably try and reword
Yeah.
those things, because somewhere along in childhood, I can remember it where you don't ever want to make a mistake or admit that you made a mistake, or and I try really hard as a parent with young kids to not to even say, hey, daddy makes mistakes every day, constantly, that you should be, that's how you grow, right?
Yeah, I guess definitely with the A plus. Everyone, you want this A plus. They make it this holy grail, but to, in theory, get that A plus, you have to be perfect. Um, so it probably isn't very healthy to do that, because you see it too in studies and stuff. Those kids that all they do is school, all they care about is the A plus, and they make sure their A plus is all through school, and then they kind of get out and they don't know how to deal with a real world situation. They've never really gone outside because they've been in study mode their whole lives or whatnot. So
Yeah.
it probably has some sort of impact there too.
Yeah, I would definitely think so, man. Yeah, we need to normalize failing and learning and growing.
Yes.
I really do. I think that's a big part of being an adult. You're gonna make mistakes. That's okay. Just learn from them. Try not to make the same ones twice.
Yep. Totally. All right. I got another question here that was
All
submitted
right,
to
let's fire
me.
it up.
So, I know that when we're going through life, we ebb and flow is what this guy said. We ebb and flow. We go through the seasons, as you like to say it too. What are some tips, or like how do you stop that when you're on the ebb part, going through the valley, realizing like don't letting the valley get too deep, I guess. Like you've made a lot of progress, and then your setbacks, I guess, or your valleys, they tend to get you back to ground zero, I guess.
Yeah. I think two answers to that, and one, man, I get to talk on this from a lot of experience, where I was just an all or nothing person for a really long time, where I would
Yeah.
be on a mountaintop for a while, crushing poker, crushing fitness, crushing everything. And then I don't know, it could be anything, a weekend of drinking would take, well, what's the point? Well, I'm just going to, well, I'm going to eat terrible this week. Then my poker game suffers. Then I'm not present. Then I'm not hitting the gym, So I think the biggest thing is to build, and we call it stack wins,
Yeah.
like when you and I talk, is to build these daily non-negotiable wins into your life. And so a few of these for me are just the morning routine, like again, when that alarm goes off, it's not a question of am I getting up or not? I'm getting up. There's one alarm. I'm not snoozing. And when it says it's time to get up, that's the first win. And then the second win for me is, I'm going to chug 2 waters right away. I'm going to feel hydrated. I'm going to spend a few minutes stretching and prayer, visualization. I'm going to write my gratitude. My whole morning routine takes me 10 minutes. But even if I absolutely dropped the ball the day before, I got crushed at poker, I made a video and I didn't hit record and accidentally, I've done that before, everything went wrong the day before, I'm starting new that day in mindfulness and really ready to attack the day. Then I think you get some movement right away. I build that in where I schedule walks every day. I schedule a workout every day. My lunch is meal prepped. It's already, if you go look in my fridge, I'm eating a healthy lunch 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So I can't go off the rails for that. And if I had a bad morning or a stressful morning, I'm not just going to go eat a pizza buffet just because I feel like it, right? Like it's the decision's already made. So my point is that you have those wins kind of stacked into your day.
Yeah.
And I would advise anybody listening to just build in one at a time. Maybe your first one is right when I wake up, I'm going to chug water. I'm going to do this for 2 or 3 weeks and make that a habit, right? Maybe your next one is a walk at lunch or meal prep or whatever that is, you just build into your life. And then, you know what, even if things are starting to go in that valley, you've still got these things to keep you kind of centered, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, for me, it's, you kind of touch on it. It's like you have like, let's say 4 versions of yourself. You got your A game when you're absolutely crushing, everything's coming easy, all your habits, you're hitting them all, and then you go B, C, and then you got your lowest form, and that's maybe when you're in the valleys. Maybe you're not hitting your diet in that. I like to like write out what the A version of what I'm trying to do. Steven, we touched on earlier, he calls it 10x, the 10x version of yourself. And then
Yeah.
you kind of list down what kind of habits start to show up when your D version shows up. Maybe you're hitting that snooze, the thing that you say is non-negotiable. Maybe you hit it once this week and that's not,
Mm.
or on a D, or you start hitting the pizza buffet like you're talking about. And when you look at the D version, or the lower version that tends to show up when you're in the valleys, I think if you start looking at those specific habits and just having them, again, mindful, front of mind, maybe look at this sheet every day when you wake up as part of your affirmations in the morning, what it's going to take. And then you can recognize when maybe that's creeping in. Oh, that's the habit that's really contributing to this valley maybe being longer than usual, or that. And you can kind of address specific habits because you know what to look for, and just writing it out, I find that to be a big aspect too when dealing with a valley.
I definitely agree, man. I think the key, my brother Phil, first mentor,
Yeah.
allegedly, when a guy used to meet for coffee all the time, really successful guy, and he used to call them keystone habits. Those he's always said, be mindful of your keystone habits, the ones that are, and he's like, when you kind of feel yourself in those valleys, you need to go back and ask yourself, are you doing those day-to-day things that you know you should do? Again, I got away from affirmations for a long time. I was doing them for really routinely for about 18 months, got away. Then I noticed my morning was more of a checklist for a while, just check off the gratitude, check off the water, check off the prayer, and then just by asking myself, well, what's missing? Why don't I feel, well, okay, let's start saying these affirmations again. And I've been doing that for the last week or so, and I've noticed a big change again, and why did I ever stop them if they're really helpful? I don't know, but humans have a tendency to do that,
Exactly. It's like
the second point I'd say to this one too is community, man.
Yeah.
Community can really pull you out of these valleys. And I think that's what we're trying to do with the channel a lot, right? Is to give people a community to join. They know they can turn this on. There's going to be hundreds of positive videos. Whatever they're struggling with, we would like to give you some encouragement around it, right? And who you're choosing to associate with. I mean, you got me out of a slump with poker. Just one piece of advice. Just flip the switch for me. Yeah, I know to journal. I talk about journaling, but for some reason, when I was in the valley, I couldn't see it, right? And just having a buddy like you, having buddies like, dude, the guys that we talk to every day, you can kind of choose who's in your circle nowadays. It doesn't just need to be your neighbor like it used to be. It can be guys all over the world. I mean, I'm going to meet you for the first time in 3 weeks. We've never met, but I consider you one of my best friends because we chat all the time and you make me better. I hope that I impact you. These are the kind of relationships you can seek. And that's what we hope that people come and join this community. That's what we hope they're about too,
Yeah, that's so key. Like, you're the average of the 6-7 people you spend the most time with, right? And if you're in the valley and all the other people are like crabs in a bucket trying to keep you in the valley, it's not gonna help for sure. And like you said, there's communities that you can join out there now, anywhere. Twitter's prime example. That's how we connected, but they're everywhere. And you can find really whatever you want. You want to learn to do BMX racing, whatever. Community for that.
Look at your jiu-jitsu community, like some of those guys that you didn't even know, how many months ago, but now you're brothers and and it's, again, if we teach our kids this, I think, and I remember hearing all the time from my parents growing, not a week went by I didn't hear this from the time I was 6 to 18, probably, of you are who you surround yourself with, well, that doesn't just stop when you're 18. Right. And for a while when I was in a not very good spot in my marriage, and I'll just be honest, pretty fat and out of shape and no energy, and literally just complained about my life. I mean, the most of the time I spent was with other dads who were also not in great marriages, who also complained about their wives, who escaped every night to Netflix, the sports games, and we would meet at bars and complain about our lives. And that was pretty much what we did. And I remember the day I kind of woke up and said, I'm just not going to do this anymore. I'm never going to say negative things about my wife anymore. I'm going to promote her and build her up. And lo and behold, now she's also my biggest cheerleader. I'm hers, but too often I think that's what's normal, right? And I wonder how many people that would watch this are out there thinking that, maybe they're living normal lives, average lives. And well, why is that? Well, you work for an average company, you keep the company of average people, and then that's just kind of normal. And you've got to break free from that. And you've got to find and seek these people who want to do better things. If you want to do these, if you want to get the kind of body that you can get, the kind of bank account, the kind of inner circle, whatever that is, the kind of marriage, you got to surround yourself with those people who also are like-minded and want those same things. It's I'll never forget my dad telling me, if you hang around with 9 people that go to bars every weekend, you will be the 10th. Like 100%. It's just a matter of time. But if you hang out with 10 guys that go to the gym every weekend, you're going to be the 11th. You're going to be that guy that just fills in, and it's so true. And I see that with guys our age, guys, of all walks of life. So I think you got to be very mindful of who you choose to keep company with.
Yep. Couldn't say it better myself.
And then those guys can pull you up out of those valleys too. I mean, even I'm doing 75 hard here coming up in a few weeks. And that was just because I reached out to a few good buddies and said, I feel myself getting a little comfortable. Like I'm in a comfortable spot in life right now. And that's a good thing, right? Like, it can be, but it can also be scary.
It's the comfort crisis, really. It's so good, but it also creates stagnation, really.
Exactly. And when I talked to a couple of buddies about that, one of them suggested 75 hard and said, because I told them I go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week, but maybe I'm not going as hard as I once did. I felt like I've kind of, have a decent physique and I have a lot of these things that I've already strived to get. And I've just felt myself getting comfortable. A couple of buddies just challenged me. Hey, let's do 75 hard together. You're not going to find those kinds of guys that are going to pull you up out of some of those valleys unless you seek it again,
Yeah. Rather have someone instead of who can chug the most beers, like let's see who can. Those are the kind of challenge. Like, the friend circle is going to have challenges like that. Better find ones that actually are worth your while, for sure.
100%, man. So we got anybody else? So we got a few people watching, hopping on, man. I appreciate you guys out there. If anybody has questions, can they fire in the questions now still or not?
Yeah, they can. We got Jason Brents. He's just saying love the answers. So appreciate that. One of those questions that we did go over was actually his. So thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah. Appreciate that, brother.
But no, I guess just what you're starting the 75 hard in July. Right?
Yeah, me and my wife we get a free trip every year to the Bahamas. So I will admit I probably will consume more drinks during that 4 days than I will probably the other 361 days combined for sure. We no kids, man. It's my parents are going to fly out here this week and watch the kids. And then me and my wife go to the Bahamas next week. And so when we get back from that, a few days after that, when I start that,
been to Pig Island down there then?
Dude, we're looking into that actually. Yeah. My wife.
That was really originally our honeymoon goals, like a couple of years ago before COVID and all that. It was like Bahamas. We're going to go to Pig Island. Kristen loves pigs, so that was kind of.
So does Annie.
So that was kind of going to be it. We are going to go there, hang out there. It's still the honeymoon plan, but for now, it's just going to be the Vegas trip. It's like we call it the pre-honeymoon, I guess.
I love that. So has Kristen been to Vegas a lot too?
Not a lot. Like I think twice. Like to be honest, I haven't been a whole heck of a lot. I didn't go for the first time until I was like 25.
Okay.
But I've been like every year since almost, except for last year. So I haven't been since January of 2020. So it's been over 2 years since I've been.
Yeah, lots changed. Yeah, you'll notice definitely a lot's changed, man. But I'm pumped for you to get out here, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can take a look at my setup too. And I mean, as you can see, my beautiful backdrop back here, I have absolutely nothing, but hoping Alex has this like beautiful backdrop and maybe we can do, but again, I don't know, with a ton of kids running around here, man, it's tough. I'm in my bedroom recording a lot of the YouTube stuff. So we'll see what we can do.
We'll figure something out. All right. Jason's got something. When you aim for difficult challenges like the 75 hard, how do you not let yourself make it an all or nothing goal? What I mean is, like, if you fail a difficult challenge, you shouldn't completely be hard on yourself, right? You should still look at the positives that came from it.
So there's certain kinds of things that I view as non-negotiable. This will be one. This will sound a bit extreme, but like I'll tell myself for this, like I'm either going to complete this or I'm going to die. Yeah. Like there's really going to be no other options with it. Now, let's say I'm 35 days in and I get the flu. And I just can't do it, right? Like for a week, I just have to rest and recover. I'll start over, right? But I will complete the 75 hard. So maybe I do get halfway through and I fail. Maybe something happens where something comes up and I do just fail. I'll get a notebook out. I'll journal why I feel like I failed that, why it's important that I complete it again, and we'll hop right back on the horse. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but it certainly wouldn't be the first time. I set a goal also to run a marathon next February. And started training, got up to about 9.5 miles. I hadn't run over a mile in 4 or 5 years, got up to 9.5 miles as my long run, doing really well and liking it. And then I got plantar fasciitis and had to take a month off. Right. So I couldn't run for a whole month. Now I'm grinding back up to 5 and 6 mile runs again, but I'm still, not feeling 100%. Now my knee little, so I don't know. I might have to tweak that. But again, I promised myself this is something I'm going to go for. So I'm going to be kind to myself along the way. I'm not going to, keep running, even though it might hurt myself, but I'm going to finish it at some point,
Yeah, I think it depends too on what you're aiming at. Like if the challenge you're aiming at, if there's like a part of like luck or variance involved, like that,
Yeah.
like if you had like a poker challenge and you wanted to make like 25,000 by the end of the year or something, there is luck involved. Whereas like the 75 hard, I think, for instance, it's pretty much in your control whether you show up or not. So I think that can kind of impact it as well.
Yeah, I don't even like to set goals that are like, whether you're
Without
growing
your
social
control.
media or you got to set, like, I call them process oriented goals, right?
Yeah.
So I would never set, like, guys will say to me when they come and want like Twitter coaching, like, how do I grow my Twitter? My goal is to be at 10,000 followers in a year. And I always say, like, dude, you can't control how many people click follow or unfollow. You can't, and you'll drive yourself nuts if you worry about it. So what you can control is that you tweet 4 times a day.
Yep.
What you can control is that you engage 20 minutes a day, So the same thing with this, with 75 hard. I'm not saying I want to be 6% body fat by the end of it, or I want to be, but I can choose to get up and do a morning walk every day or my outside exercise. I can choose to go to the gym. I can choose to not eat sugar. I can choose to read my book every day. I can hammer out these wins every day, and I'm in control of all of them. So
yeah,
it'll just be a matter
the
of
things in 75 hard are well within your control. You either show up and do them or you don't, like you said, process oriented. And then it goes back to what you taught me early on when we first started talking, was about reverse engineering where you want to be. Like, for instance, that Twitter thing you're talking about, the guy wants 10,000 followers. That's maybe not the kind of goal you should set. It should be, what things are going to be used to get to 10,000 followers? What daily actions can I do? And then just hit those consistently all the time. And that's all. It's within your control, and it's a target you can hit. And
100% agree, man. Do you remember one of the first things we talked about too when we started talking was same with poker, right? Like how you would get frustrated, you would lose a session, and then like Kristen would know about it, and everybody that would talk to you know about it, and then it just yeah, and it's like, today I just cashed out. Actually, I played a session today, and I literally looked at my cashier for the first time in 6 or 7 days, and I was like very surprised. Like, oh man, I'm up. I was up, 1,500 and change, and I didn't even know. Like this week it was a great week, but I don't really even care day to day. The money that comes in from poker, just that I'm playing well, doing a good job. When I'm at my best at my A game, I'll never check the cashier. I don't care. I'm just trying to make good decisions.
I need to get to that level. I love hitting that refresh on my refresh. I just want a big pot refresh.
You don't do mid-session, do you?
Sometimes.
Oh man, I set that rule for myself a long time ago with Poker Stars, because I was 24 tabling, and like the swings were just insane. And sometimes I could be down 4 or 5 buy-ins in the first 10 minutes, and like then you feel like you got to get it back, when in reality it's just, again, focus on the process, what you can control.
All right.
And that's how I'll attack 75 hard, the same way. Like every day before I go to bed, I write a little plan of my next day.
Yeah.
On my plan will be the time of the day I'm going to do all those things for 75 hard, and then it's just waking up and making sure that I get to cross those off and feel good about it.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm gonna change my ways with the refresh. I gotta make that a priority for sure.
Poker gets more fun too, man, because then it's just all about the game.
It's just one hand.
Yeah, you're just like, dude, you're just so happy. Even when like I told you about a hand right before we popped on, where the guy like lead called deuces on just a crazy spot, but like I laughed literally. Like I lost over a buy-in on the pot, but like I wouldn't change the way I played the hand. Like like I just kind of laughed about it. And okay, I hope this guy stays, and now I know how to attack him, and that I can literally has 0 folds ever in his range if he's calling off 100 bigs with deuces on a on that board. Like just kind of wild.
Totally. All right, I don't think anyone's got anything else. So any target things you're really trying to hammer out this upcoming week? I know Sundays is like plan day, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm starting to actually get that out. Well, I got the YouTube video for this week. We're shooting
yeah.
2 of them. So one's on affirmations, how important they are. I'm going to go over all the affirmations I say on a daily basis, why I say them, how you can help yourself kind of use maybe those as a guideline, but craft your own.
Yeah.
So I'm really pumped about that one because that's a big one for people. And then I want to do one on my body transformation, where I was 4.5 years ago with that dad gut, how I got to the point where I am today, and kind of the work you have to put in, but it's not as much work as people tend to think.
Yeah.
It's harder, and you can allude to this, having lost over 50 pounds yourself. There are some hard days, right? You got to push, but most of it is just doing the little things right each day, right? Like it's not this big once in a lifetime, oh my gosh, if I eat, I can never eat this thing again. Like I still eat pizza every week, man. Like there's not a week that goes by I don't eat pizza. I still eat ice cream most weeks, like at the most ripped I've ever been, I'm still eating ice cream weekly with my family. So I kind of want to document that journey. So I'm gonna shoot those 2 this week. I know we got the one on my shoes being stolen.
Yeah, that one's coming out
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Got a couple pods recorded. Actually, it's kind of funny, but I do want to get my mom on the podcast here at some point. She's an amazing woman, and she's got a great story, man, and a massive faith. I think she can inspire a lot of people too. My friends call her Mother Teresa. She's just like, she was always the mom that was always around us all, like slicing us up apples and healthy fruits and vegetables, telling us to eat our fruits and veggies. She's a good woman. So
yeah, sometimes I feel like we're the same person from different countries, like same kind of life, grew up in small towns in the country, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, we actually had another question come in here from Wabir 260. Nice. Says, hi Tyler and Alex, if both of you could go back and meet your 21-year-old self, what would you tell them, or what advice would you give yourself?
Bro, we should make a video on that too. Actually, that would be a great one. I mean, I'll be honest, and this might not be popular, but a couple things. Number one, give 2 craps about what any of your peers ever think about you ever. I spent way too much of my life. Say, what's up, Ticey? Ticey's gonna make an appearance on the pod. What's up, buddy?
Hey,
Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Good job, buddy. I'll be done here in like 5 minutes. Mama, love you. But yeah, I think that's number one, is just not care at all what your peers think, man. And again, seek out those people that want the same thing as you.
Yep.
I made a lot of money playing poker, back-to-back 300K years when I was 21, 22, 23. And I blew most of it because of my friend circle telling me to you got to buy a new car. So I bought a sports car, a Mercedes, and well, let's go to the nightclubs. That's what everybody does. Well, if I had sought a different friend circle that said, dude, invest your money, like don't spend $1,000 a night at nightclubs, bottle service, like invest your money and watch what it does, buy assets, So, getting the right friend circle and not caring what a lot of your peers are doing. And then number 2, never look at pornography and just get addicted to self-improvement. That would be probably the biggest 3 things I would say.
Yeah.
How about you?
Honestly, those first 2, or the first 2 that came to my mind, is don't care about what other people think, but like also a lot of people I hear, they just hold back because they think that other people think things. It's just or they think that everyone's paying attention to everything they do all the time, and it's just like people don't pay attention. They're not paying attention to you. They have their own worlds. You could be doing something beside them half the time, and they wouldn't know what you'd get. Yep. I challenge someone that works in corporate to wear the same shirt 3 days in a row and see if anybody noticed. They probably don't.
Oh, no way. That's a great point, man.
So like just things like that, like it kind of hits on what you said. Like don't care what people think, but also like they don't care. People aren't paying attention to what you're doing. So do what you want to do, and don't worry about what other people are going to say. Investing, like you nailed it. Like just my 21-year-old self, even though I was investing, just invest harder, do a little bit more. Don't spend on the lucrative things that you might not need to all the time. Those were the 2 that came to my mind for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. That's a great question.
A good question. Thank you.
Yeah. We're getting ready to head out here as a family in a minute or 2 to our Juneteenth celebration. We got a little thing here in town. So I'm going to head out here in a few minutes, but this has been fun, man. We should just make this like every so often thing, try and get more people to hop on, shoot some questions. It'd be a lot of fun. I appreciate you setting it up too, Alex.
Yeah,
Man.
sounds good. Next time I'll have the intro. It'll work. We won't start halfway through, but that's cool.
We learn, man. That's how we go.
Yeah. If you have any ideas for videos, questions in the future, just either DM Tyler or me, and we'll try and make it happen for sure.
Yeah, really appreciate everybody on this channel too, man, as we try and grow this and really put a lot of positive energy out into the world, man. So that's what we want to do.
All right. That's it for me.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. Have the greatest day.
Bye, guys.